A black woman's appearance is often a huge trigger in the workplace. We're not supposed to look really nice. If you're new here, I've started a series called Black and Female in Corporate America where I've been sharing my own personal experiences of what it's been like for me being a black woman in predominantly white spaces. So, this story is about when I was working as a paralegal. I had a pair of kitten heels that I wore to work one day. And this office, the way that it was set up, I had an L shaped desk, and my desk was right outside an associate attorney's that I was working with. And the managing shareholder of the firm also was on this floor. And so one day I'm standing up and she happened to walk past my desk, and she was always very friendly. If she sees you, she's going to speak. And so she came over and we were just chatting a bit, and she noticed my shoes, and she said, "Oh, these are really cute shoes." And she was like, "Are they comfortable?" And I said, "Yes, they are." And we started this conversation about, finding a nice pair of dress shoes that are comfortable. So one thing about this attorney that I was working with, she had a problem with anybody stopping at my desk saying hello or anything. She would try to buzz me and act like she needed something, but she didn't. Or she would step out and try to interrupt the conversation. And so with the managing shareholder, she would tread a little bit lightly, but she still popped out, tried to get in the conversation. And so she overheard her talking about my shoes, and she came out and she kind of looked at them. And, our conversation had ended, so I'm sitting back down. This attorney goes back into her office, and it's almost like she waited maybe a few seconds, and then she came out and said, "Oh, I forgot. I need something to go to this law firm that's just about 2 blocks away. It's a really pretty day outside. You can just walk over there. It needs to go now." And I knew she was just making something up, and it was she was just a very difficult person to work with, and I knew she was trying to do this because this attorney had complimented my shoes, and she wanted me to walk over there to drop off this paperwork. Well, the firm, the way that it was set up, we had runners. So they would come every 30 minutes to pick up filings, to pick up mail, what have you. And so I said, no, I pushed back. I said, I'll put in a request for the runner. That's their job. They can do this. And she, tried to come back at me and said, "Well, I need this done right now. Can't you just get up and do it?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I have heels on. I don't have tennis shoes, and it's not my job." I said, "This is what the runners are for. This is not urgent." Next thing I know, I found out later that she had went to the office admin and complained about me, but fortunately the admin had her number, so, she didn't take the bait or try to coddle her in any way, but I told her what had happened, and she said, "Yeah, I figured something, it was just a non-issue, but she tried to make an emergency out of nothing." But she did that on purpose because she was hoping I'd mess up my shoes. And so this is something that I've always thought was really interesting. If, as black women, we take pride in our appearance and how we look at work, but whether we change our hair, we have on a nice suit, dress, pair of shoes, handbag, anything, it is a topic of discussion all day long.
Most white people don't like black people. Now, that's a statement that really riled up some of my friends on Facebook. I saw it in a comment section about the tragic homicide of Nolan Wells. A black commenter said, "Most white people don't like black people," and a lot of my white liberal friends seemed very upset. They felt like that white people were being mischaracterized, that stereotypes were being applied to people unfairly because all the people in their social circle like black people, and they voted for Kamala Harris and they voted for Barack Obama. Listen, there's a shit ton of white people in this country that voted for Barack Obama and voted for Kamala Harris and have black friends that still don't like black people. Let me explain to you white people, because I know all the black people in here watching already know this, don't you? So for the white people that have hung on this long, let me give you an explanation. You can't like black people and never spend time in black spaces. You can't like black people and never take time to learn about black culture or adjust how you speak to black people so that you are being polite within the confines of their customs, their culture. You can't like black people and not know a single black person's birthday. You can't like black people and never invite a black person into your family gatherings or to come over for the holidays. You can't like black people and never have been in one of your black friends' houses. You can't like black people and leave your only black friend on an island out in the middle of the ocean to catch a ride with someone else on an island full of white people without his cell phone. You might like to hang around with him. You might think he's funny. You might think that they're entertaining. You might enjoy their company. You might be courteous to them. You might be polite to them. But you don't like them if you're not willing to learn about them, if you're not willing to spend time in places that aren't white spaces with black people. That's a hard truth. But it is a truth. And I know a lot of you that are white liberals, white allies, think that what we're talking about is stopping lynchings and making sure people have a right to vote, or ending gerrymandering, or letting Colin Kaepernick take a knee, or getting justice for Breonna Taylor, or any number of other people who have been wrongfully killed by the police or persecuted, or celebrating Juneteenth. But that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about a toxic virus that is white supremacy that infiltrates every part of our culture. It is so deeply ingrained in American culture that even within the black community, there is colorism and there is white supremacy. Every single person on here that's watching that is black is nodding their head, I guarantee you, when I say that, because they know people in their community that do things that support white supremacy. We have a council person right here in Mobile who used the term black on black crime to talk about an incident between two black people during Mardi Gras. Black on black crime. A black council person in Mobile used that phrase, used the language of white supremacy out loud, and let themselves be quoted in the biggest publication in this state, AL.com. White supremacy, we are infested with it. It is not enough that you don't use the N-word when you sing along to your hip-hop songs, and that you repost every time a black person is wrongfully killed by the cops. You need to be having conversations with your friends. You need to be talking about deeper, next level things in terms of white supremacy. You need to be teaching your children how to handle having a black friend, and teach them that they don't fucking leave them alone on an island 10 miles out in the ocean without their cell phone.
Let's talk about racism in Slavic communities. I'm currently in no contact with my family because of racism, and I think we need to have a conversation here. So grab a drink, buckle in. This is going to be a longer video. So I went no contact with my family because of racism, and also amongst other things. But here are some things that I've noticed within my family, and also in just Slavic communities, being around the Slavic church most of my life. I'm half Russian, half Ukrainian. I grew up in a very controlled church cult environment for 15 years of my life, was never allowed to talk to anyone else. I think I engaged with the first person of color when I was 15. I grew up being afraid of black people. And so there's a lot I want to share and talk about. And I think as a white woman, these are conversations we need to have, especially when we add religion to the mix. This is in no way to overgeneralize and say that all Slavic people are like this, but this has been my experience and what I have seen for years of my life. This whole thing started with a question being asked by one of my brothers. If you had a gun and you had to pew-pew a white person or a black person, who would you pew-pew? Both of them said they would pew-pew the black person. What kind of question is that? What kind of question is that? I remember being like, what the frick? I made such a big deal about it. And then I was deemed as the dramatic one, the aggressive one, the, oh my gosh, I need Jesus. And really, what makes you think it's okay to have a conversation like that? And I remember when I got really loud and kind of like stern and vocal about it, it was like, oh, well, we're just family. I would never say that to a black person. Well, I'd never say that to their face. And that's the issue, is we've normalized saying things to safe people, aka family, because we're family and we're just going to keep it in the family. That is not okay. I do not want to be your safe space. I don't care who you are. I don't care if I'm freaking married to you or you are my blood brother, my blood sister. I don't want to be a safe space for those kind of conversations. And to continue, why are we so okay with saying the N-word? Why are we so okay with saying the N-word as white people? My brothers have thrown around the N-word like it's Christmas morning. That is so shocking to me. Why has it been okay to judge a demographic and say like, oh, that's a lower income poverty area because black people live there? That is what I grew up hearing most of my life. Oh, black people live there. And you say it in Russian. Oh, черные там живут. So it's not good. What? My parents said that they grew up in like Russia and Ukraine with like pictures of black people and calling them the N-word. Like that was normal. So like when I started bringing pushback, it's like, oh, well, it's a cultural difference. Oh, it's just like, it's a cultural, no. This is a racism issue. This isn't a cultural difference. If that's what you grew up with, then we have a bigger problem here. Like that is insane. My first ever interaction with a black person was my vocal coach. And I remember being scared to be in a room with this man because he was black. And for whatever reason, that equals danger. And the thing is like, we didn't grow up openly racist. It wasn't like, oh, look, I hate that person because of their skin color. It's so much more like hidden than that. And I feel like just as a Slavic person, I've been around so much like Slavic pride. Like we're the best people. It's our way or the highway. And then add like, again, people of color, and even like, there's so many examples I have. So it's not even just the black community. It's also the Hispanic community. We are completely okay with calling everyone Mexican because they look like it. In our language, we don't say, oh, that person's Hispanic or that person's Latino. We say, oh, Mexicanse. And so we're okay with like, for the longest time, for years of my life, I called every person that looked Hispanic Mexican. And how did I learn? I learned by people calling me out and being like, that's wrong, you know? And so I just see this a lot. I see this a lot in Slavic communities. I see this a lot in like, oh, ew. Like, it's just like an entitlement. It's like a dirty thing. And I absolutely hate it. I think it is disgusting and repulsive, to say the least. And then add Jesus to the mix. People be preaching and talking about white Jesus. White Jesus. I tell you, I swear, like, Jesus is going to come back and people are going to be like, oh, damn, you're not white. You guys are all in for a rude awakening, I'm telling you. And I think for a long time I was really embarrassed to talk about, like, I grew up being racist and I have made remarks that have not been okay. And I think as I've gotten older, I think if we don't have conversations like this and talk about, hey, this is what I did and this is why it was wrong and this is how I learned from it, we're not going to grow. We're not going to learn. And so I think this is me trying to do that. And I sometimes don't know where to start and how to continue and what to share. But I think like having the dialogue is important. I even remember like this was like a recent remark that was made about someone that is in my life that adopted a black child, and their first reaction was like, oh my god, they adopted a black kid. And I was like, I literally in Russian was like, shut the hell up. Like, do not say that to this person. That is rude and offensive. And it's not like it's always said in like a demeaning way. Like, and same with like adoption too. It's like, no, if you're gonna get married and have kids, it has to be your blood. Like we have so much pride in our blood, in our heritage, in our bloodline. And we normalize, honestly, talking crap and saying something bad because it's family and like, oh, like we'll keep it in the family. No, it's absolutely insane how we...
In today's society, you cannot be blatantly racist without being absolutely scrutinized for it. So, those racists hide behind microaggressions. Today, I was talking to my friend, who is a black man, about something that had happened a month ago. He was shaking. I said, hey, you're shaking. We have to stop speaking about it. This was not a blatant act of racism. This was a microaggression. Mind you, this whole year, me and him together have faced insane amounts of homophobia and racism. Talking about this specific story, can't speak about it, start shaking. So around a month ago, me and my friend were in class, and I am the type to be extremely confrontational. If I hear something I don't like, I'm going to say something about it. I hear this person who has a very, very long track record of being a racist. We have videos of him saying the N-word, so much more. Say something racist towards Chinese people. Immediately, I turn to him and I say, what the fuck did you just say? Watch your mouth. I go into a 10-minute basically yelling match with his friend, not him. He was too scared to say anything. His friend. Both of these guys are idiots. We have so many stories about them, but not today. 10 minutes of me being aggressive, swearing, and yelling, getting my point across, raising my voice in front of 15 other people, plus the teacher in that class. In this 15-minute conversation, my friend, who is a black man, said two things. One, let's go talk in the hall. And two, look at her when she's speaking to you, or look at me when I'm speaking to you. After class, me and my friend were pulled aside by the teacher. I was like, oh shit, like, I'm gonna get my shit rocked, like, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I was absolutely praised. Absolutely praised. I was told that I'm being a leader and I'm standing up for what's right. I'm doing what others can. Absolutely praised. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like this is a good thing. I'm glad that I'm not getting in trouble for it because I stand by every single thing that I said. This teacher then looks over to my friend, who again is a black man. I am a white woman. He is a black man. Looks over to my friend and said, you shouldn't have said those things. You telling him to go talk in the hall and to look at you when he's talking to you made him feel uncomfortable. You should not have said those things. Me and my friend walk away from that with two very different experiences. He then tells me, Mia, I cannot be aggressive, or I will be labeled as an aggressive black man, and that is scary. I walked away from that in my own experience of, oh, I did what's right, that's amazing. He walked away from that. What did I do wrong? Why am I getting shamed for doing not even a quarter of what my white friend did? This was a teacher. Very nice guy, would have never expected that. Microaggressions are so much more difficult to confront than blatant racism. And this was a perfect example of how blatant racism can play out in microaggressions. Nothing happened with that. Also, to add on to that, I've talked to my friend about this. Please, please, please do not leave comments saying, oh my god, I feel so bad, I feel so bad. He does not need your sympathy. He's made this very clear to me. He does not need sympathy. The point of me making this is to understand that a white person and a black person can do the same thing. If not, white person can do more, and a black person will be scrutinized for it. That is the point of me making this video, is to just show real world examples of microaggressions. He does not need your sympathy. He does not want your sympathy. He's made this super, super clear to me. This is just informative. Okay, that's it.